You know how people always say that having more money, more stuff, is the key to being happy? Well, is it? Is that really the whole story? Today we're going to dive into a simple story that kind of turns that whole idea on its head. We'll look at two totally different worlds to find a pretty powerful lesson about what joy is all about.
So this really gets to the heart of it, right? Does having everything actually mean being happy? It's the question so many of us are chasing an answer to. And the journey we're about to go on gives a really fascinating perspective.
All right, so let's meet our main character, Arav. Now, on the outside, this kid's life looks perfect. I mean, it's a world of privilege most people can only dream about. But underneath all that shine, something is just missing. So, picture this. Arav's world is just overflowing with stuff. We're talking fancy cars, designer clothes, a massive mansion. I mean, by any standard, he had it all. He literally had everything.
And yet, with all those possessions, there was this giant, gaping hole in his life. The one thing that all that money just couldn't buy was missing: peace. That feeling of just being calm and content. Nope, nowhere to be found.
His life was basically stuck on a loop, a really predictable and kind of hollow routine. Every single day was exactly the same. Off to school.
And every single night, he'd just get lost in his phone, just scrolling and scrolling. A constant stream of distraction, but zero real connection.
Weekends weren't any better. They were just spent wandering around a mall. His whole life was this closed circuit of routine and buying things, with absolutely no space for anything real or joyful.
And that's the crazy part, isn't it? Arav was surrounded by absolutely everything you could imagine, but inside, he just felt this deep emptiness. It was a void that no new gadget or fancy trip could ever hope to fill. And that feeling is what sets him on a path to a pretty life-changing moment. But then one day, right on the edge of his perfectly polished world, Arav sees something that just stops him in his tracks. He gets a glimpse into a totally different way of living.
And the difference between them, man, it was night and day. On one side, you have Arav with his mansion, his designer clothes, his phone. And on the other, there's this other kid with torn clothes and a toy he literally made out of mud. But the biggest difference, the thing that really stood out, was that the boy had something Arav didn't: a real, genuine smile. Seeing this simple, happy smile just blows Arav's mind. It doesn't make any sense to him. So he goes up to the boy and starts a conversation that's about to unpack the entire lesson of our story. Arav's question comes straight from his own world, where happiness and possessions are, the same thing. He just asks, "You have nothing, so why are you always laughing?" You can hear the confusion in his voice.
And the kid's answer, wow, it's so simple, but it changes everything. He just smiles and says, "Because I have myself." Just like that, in a few words, he totally flips the script on where joy comes from. It's not about what's outside, it's about what's inside.
Arav still looks confused, so the boy explains. He's like, "My happiness? It's not complicated. It comes from playing with friends, from the simple comfort of holding his mom's hand, and from the fun of making his own toys. These are joys that have absolutely nothing to do with money."
And then he just lays it all out, the core message of this entire story. He says, "I don't need things for show. I just need love and time." He's drawing this incredibly powerful line in the sand between stuff you have for appearances and real wealth, which is built on connection. For Arav, hearing this is like a switch just flips in his head. It cuts through all the noise and distraction of his life. In that moment, the boy's simple wisdom makes him see his whole world in a completely different light. And for the first time, maybe ever, Arav has nothing to say. He's just silent, totally floored. He's really thinking, really processing what he just heard. The kid's words hit home, big time. And that's when it hits him like a ton of bricks. He had all the things money could buy, sure, but he was completely broke in the one currency that actually matters: time. He had no real time for anyone, not his family, not his friends, not even for himself.
And this isn't just some passing thought. No, this realization sparks real change. Arav finally understands where the real treasure is, and he decides right then and there to do something about it.
And what he does next is so simple, but so powerful. He goes home, he turns off his phone, the very symbol of his isolation, and most importantly, he just goes and sits with his parents, choosing to connect instead of disconnect. And then he just opens up to them. He says,
Mom, Dad, I get it now. Happiness isn't found in things, it's found in relationships. He's not just thinking about the lesson anymore, he's actually living it.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? That was the day a boy who had literally everything learned the true meaning of happiness, from a boy who, by all normal standards, had absolutely nothing. So, the story ends, but it kind of leaves the ball in our court with a really powerful question. It's asking us to look past all our own stuff, our routines, and to ask ourselves the same thing. Where do you find your happiness?